Hey y'all, this is Liam,
And it's Jen,
and we're so glad you've joined us for an episode of the limited podcast series, Unlimited Time Magic with Jen and Liam.
a place where we have honest, raw, unhinged, usually sober conversations about Disney, travel, and just life.
Now, I know you're a little spooked, you're a little scared, but don't be afraid to follow us on Instagram at Unlimited Time Magic.
And you know what would really help? Go ahead and give us a rating on the Apple Podcast app if you like what you hear. If you don't like it, don't worry. You've got a busy life. No reason to take the time. But if you love it, go ahead and go on there. Give us a rating. It helps us a lot.
Now sit down, buckle your seatbelts, put your arms up and relax. Oh, and y'all, if you've been ever afraid that the magic is like dead inside, remember that the magic's you. Enjoy the episode, y'all. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Unlimited Time Magic. I'm Liam.
Welcome. I'm Jen.
You know what I thought about? Why did I try to quote the welcome show from Magic Kingdom, RIP, rest in peace, which I would hope they bring that back soon, like the OG, maybe someday. I mean, but it's funny. You're the person who made me think of this because I re-looked at footage because I'm a narcissist and just skipped around to my bits. No, it was on my blog. It was on my blog that you talked about. It's been 4 years since we've had the railroad. And I just hadn't noticed that. Like, I'm a little dumb. I'm a little slow sometimes.
I'm going to switch. Viewers, don't get dizzy. Ooh. I'm going to switch
what
real
is this,
quick.
Cosmic Rewind? Y'all, we hope you've had the best week ever. I know that we here at the podcast had an amazing week because thanks to you guys, we raised over like $250, $300 for the Giraffe Foundation.
Unbelievable.
Absolutely incredible. We're also going to be announcing the giveaway winner today on Instagram, either today or tomorrow when I get my act together and take it on the road. I keep saying, you know what I keep saying this week? I'm like, whenever something good happens, I go, that's more like it. It's because when Miss Piggy and Muffin Vision goes, he goes, oh, glorious 3 hour from now, glorious number from Miss Piggy. That's I quote Muppet Vision too much. Jen, how was your week? You mentioned traveling.
I did. I was in California. I was not in California for work. I was in California for pleasure. We were with our good friends. We rented a beach house that was so just over the top, like seriously ridiculous. A lot of people have asked me, my patrons have like their own private Instagram. So I posted a few pictures of the interior and now they're all like, can you send me the VRBO listing? And I'm like, no, I cannot. Because sharing great beach houses is a lot like sharing babysitters. If you want to be able to book it, you don't tell your friends. So no one's going to know. You will know who I book through, but it is that good. And we are already probably going to book this same house for next year. Newport Beach, which is where we were, is all about the beach. I mean, it's just very casual out there on the beach side, but it's funny because then if you go into like where Lido Island is, it's these very, very expensive high-end shops, Instagram pictures galore, all of that. But on the beach side, it's still very much like it ever was, like when I was a kid, right? Everybody's just happy and eating ice cream and chilling out. And there's tons of dogs and we rent bicycles and we get tacos and we eat margaritas on the beach, drink margaritas on the beach, eat tacos, drink margaritas. And it's just a vacation. It's like what a vacation is supposed to feel like. So
and isn't that like so funny? Like when you realize that it's like same thing for me going to work. I'm somehow dumbfounded with the fact that this is people's vacation. Like people save up a lot of money to go to Disney. And I understand that intellectually. But as I'm like at work, sometimes I forget that. And I'm like, oh yeah, my everyday life is people's like save up 4 years to go here. It just reminded like how lucky I am that I get to experience that.
I don't want to say a Disney trip isn't a vacation. Like even if you took what I do for a living out of it, it's like a Disney trip is a trip. Does that make sense? Like to me, a vacation is going somewhere where like I read an entire book. You can take naps, you can play Battleship, which we did out on the little outdoor patio area. And it was just a hoot. And we almost won. It was girls against the boys, but the boys won. But that was just pure luck. Because as we know, Battleship is mostly luck. So yeah, it was just fun.
But like, what an
fun.
interesting idea of like,
yeah.
of trip versus vacation.
Yeah.
I think that's really interesting. I've never thought of it that way. That's interesting.
I especially think people who travel with their kids to Disney World would say it's a trip and not really a vacation.
Yeah, it's
like
so
it's
much
an
work.
escape, but it's so much work. And I mean, you see those parents, and there is a way to do it. And you know, Liam and I specialize in that, where you're not running and gunning every second of every day. But if you're going specifically, like maybe you only go once every 3 years, it's to ride things, it's to like get things done. My hope for you would be that then you would also have some vacation time to just chill if you're into that.
Like you need to. I think you need to, because it's like I was doing park open to park closes with my friend over the summer, and we stayed at Coronado, and I was like, you need to have moments to go rest. Like you must. Like you cannot survive. You will get sick. You just will. Yeah. Like it ain't I ain't playing. But however, I played a little. I call it playing guest.
Yes.
When I go play guest in the parks. That Disney hosted for the first time ever. They're doing a series for the summer called Iridescent Nights, where for basically 3.5 hours, almost like a Christmas party or a Halloween party, Disney just rents the park out just for cast members. So each cast member can book one night to essentially go to Magic Kingdom, Hollywood Studios, or Epcot, and go experience incredibly low waits and really cool characters and really great snacks.
Yeah, your pictures on Instagram, tell me if this is accurate, because it literally made it look like, when I say walk on, not like, to me, anything less than 15 minutes is a walk on, but there were like empty cars in every vehicle. Okay.
Yeah, I basically I really love Fantasyland attractions, like at Magic Kingdom or over in specifically Disneyland. There's a specialty of like going on Dumbo in Disneyland, like that feeling. Nothing beats that feeling. And I love Dumbo here. But anyways, we started in Fantasyland. We got there at 8:30. The event started a lot like a party. Could have come in at 7. We decided to come in at or like come in earlier, you know what I mean? But come in earlier. The party didn't start until 10. So from 10 to 1 was the party time where no one else was allowed to ride things. We ate dinner first, because I said eat dinner, because it was just chaos. Like it was so busy. It was a Jen LaForge nightmare. She would have had a conniption.
Yeah. Well, and that's true even when you do the regular parties or ticketed events. And this is a good tip, because you experienced it even more extremely probably, but there's always that moment when the day guests are leaving and the event hasn't quite started yet. And it is the chaos of all chaos. So I always recommend, if you can get in, like you could have gotten in with your annual pass or whatever before, right?
Yeah.
Get in a couple hours before, and then go like camp out in the back of the park. Cause it's really just like the Main Street hub area that feels like a nightmare.
No, and that was the same thing for this. Like we just really wanted corn dog nuggets. So we went to Casey's Corner, but however, it was just a disaster zone. But after that chaotic moment, we knew that going in, because my friend Clarissa, who I've been friends with for 9 years, she literally was like, she hates the theme parks only because of the crowding. And so we did Casey's Corner. We even got like, somebody made a magical moment for us and got Starbucks for free, which was super sweet.
So you could invite anybody. It didn't have to be a fellow cast member. It was a guest of your choosing.
Yeah. So like if you were here, I could have brought you. I could have brought know, Jess, if Jess was in town, but I chose Clarissa because we always have a good time. And
well, I also love that you chose someone that doesn't love that probably would never go to the parks unless it wasn't crowded. And so you're such a good friend to know that she was the right one to choose. And
she's such a good person to bring in like community circles of like, you're running into work friends and you're running into blank and this and that. I'm not saying you're wearing like different faces, but you're definitely like, you're in a different crowd. And Clarissa's seen me in so many different parts of my life since high school that it's just so cool to bring her into that kind of world, because she had been a CP prior, like way back in the day. So she understands it, like she gets it, she just chooses not to participate. But no, we rode everything by midnight, like everything. Space Mountain twice, Mine Train was a walk on. We just stood on Barnstormer just to feel something. We rode it 3 times, just like stayed on the thing and just kept going. They just kept
There you
on. They
go.
didn't. They just checked our seatbelts and went caca, caca, and they just.
Yeah, so doing Barnstormer 3 times makes it like the length of a regular ride.
That's what I'm saying. It was a minute and a half. It was great. But really, really fun. And it was like kind of wild because we started our evening, we walked into Magic, and it's the awkward, it's so sweet. The intention is so pure and it's lovely. But Clarissa, who is she does not want to be around a tunnel full of managers just clapping. It was a lot. And you're like, oh my God, sensory overload. I told Jen about this previously, that it felt like you were in Kingdom Keepers because like the park was that quiet. I'm going to say maybe 2,000 people were in it.
Yeah. So one of the nights that I had done, you remember the paid Magic Hour events before pandemic? One of them that I did, you know what I'm talking about? The like paid extra Magic Hour events. Why are you laughing at that?
It was as a cast member, those days were so crazy.
Oh, I can only imagine.
Not because it was bad, but just because it was crazy. It was like 3 people every 30 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. So the one of the nights that I did it, what is Magic Kingdom holds? Oh, I used to know this. I know they don't release the number, but there's like an average park attendance day is however many thousand. And there were literally like 3,000 people in the entire park for this one particular party. And it almost felt like I can imagine it felt during when people came to the parks right when they first reopened. It's almost eerie, and they really didn't have everything open. So you would walk through whole sections of the park with not only no people, but like no stands open or like just like this feels like I am not supposed to be here right now. And you do realize, as much as we love not having crowds, there is something about particularly Magic Kingdom that it just feels normal, you know, when there's a lot of people there. That's just like what it's supposed to feel like. So anyway, not that I would say no if you invited me to another one of those events. I'm just saying there is a little bit of something that's missing when you don't have the crowd enthusiasm, you know?
I wanted to meet Mickey on my Iridescent night because you got to meet characters. There was no one super cool. Like I wanted Yzma to show up. Like I was wanting someone crazy.
Not that Mickey isn't super cool. No. He's your boss and he might be watching. So
you're getting your cheese later, Mickey. A cheese bouquet. No, but I haven't met a character since social distancing went away. So I was like, okay, I should really meet Mickey tonight. It was Mickey and Minnie at the Town Square Theater in their 50th garb. And I got to meet my man, and he was very cute. And Clarissa is an incredible artist. She's so good. I'll maybe link something in one of our stories because I think she's opening an Etsy shop because she's grown up crocheting and just making things. Her and her brother are incredible artists, like just handheld, like long story short, she made a beret and Minnie was like, that's really cute. And she was like, well, I was like, well, she made it. And Minnie freaked out. She was like, can you make me one and my poodles? And I said, absolutely, we can make that for you. As if I'm like her manager. I was like, Clarissa can make that for you and stat. But it was a really fun moment. And she was like, Clarissa was like, she always hates meeting characters, but she was like, okay, that was really cute. The fact that we all had that conversation about her crocheting.
But you know that I don't actually like meeting characters. Did you know that about me?
No, I that makes 100% sense.
I don't mind. Face characters freak me out. Like I don't mind character like, you know, when it's Mickey and Minnie and that when they don't speak to me. And I would like to meet Mirabelle from and Kanto, and she's at Disneyland in California, and I did not make my way over to where she was. I just like missed it for some reason. You know why? Because you know where she is, Liam? She's over in that that area where they do the Hispanic Heritage Festival, and it's kind of quiet over there. And so you don't always go, like if you go all the way through Pixar Pier, and then you're like going to come back around where Grizzly Run is. It's in that way, way, way back corner. And I just never made it over there. Can you believe? So I missed out.
Can you believe a quiet corner and Jen LaForge couldn't find it?
Don't you feel like, though, that Mirabelle is probably a really good meet and greet? Like, don't you feel like she probably has a lot to talk about?
Oh, absolutely. You and I need to, that's next time we will probably have to do it for Not So Scary to meet someone fun. Because Meeting characters with me is wild. It's a wild journey.
Hey guys, it's me, Jen. Are you loving this episode of Unlimited Time Magic? I totally agree with you. It's great, but it could use just a little something. And you can provide that little bit of help that we need to make these podcasts the best that they can be. Just go ahead and head over to our tip jar. Remember, a little goes a long way in helping us produce better episodes for you. Links can be found down in the description or in our link tree on Instagram. See you on Main Street.
What if you and I go to the Halloween party as the fairy godmother and her gay son from Shrek 2?
Yeah, but they were evil.
I mean, you said it, sister, not me.
Okay, don't laugh at me for asking, but which one am I?
My friends, Jen LaForge, our one and only TM, has been traveling all week, and we typically have a writers meeting. However, Jen was like, "Hey, can we do a writers meeting through text? Because I'm traveling a lot." And I went, "Yeah, that's fine. I don't care." And we could honestly do writers meetings over text, but I like talking to Jen to actually talk about the episode, and she does too.
I live for it.
It's my highlight of my, what did I say about your, so I like to troll Jen. That's my favorite thing. And Jen was, I was like, oh, like I checked out your new video that I was in and people are saying such nice things about me. And Jen was like, yeah, no, like they really do love you. And I was like, and you needed the revival.
He literally said, I have really given new life to your dead, lifeless YouTube channel.
Now, one of us does YouTube for a living and one doesn't. Who do you think?
I just said, right on.
So I posted on our Instagram at Unlimited Time Magic to ask you guys your hot takes. Now, Jen and I are full of opinions.
Hot takes. We're gonna bring you some hot takes. We're gonna bring you some things you think about Disney stuff. Will we agree or will we not? It's hot takes with Jen and Leah. TM.
It's so hot. I'm gonna add the sound effect.
If there was a living to be made from on the site jingles, I think we've established.
You would definitely be the door-to-door jingler. Like
yes.
that, well, that sounds like you're a serial killer. The door-to-door jingler.
This December, you've heard of the guy in the drain with the balloon. You know about the guy with the scary hockey mask. It's the door-to-door jingler.
And it's you dressed up as a barbershop quartet performer. This summer, Jen LaForge gets a summer job as a dapper
Light a rose, I'm home again, Rose.
It's so low. Okay, so I put a question box. You guys answered. Jen LaForge is full of opinions. She makes a living talking about her opinions.
It's true.
And having a gay friend. So I wrote down my 10 favorite hot takes. We are going to.
Okay, but you laughed, but you didn't tell me, am I playing the gay son or am I playing the fairy godmother?
I think we'll little fox it and halfway through the night we'll switch. Bringing life to your dead YouTube channel. Jen, are you ready for number one, a hot take?
I am. Now let's define. Wait, what if someone is like from another country and they don't know what a hot take is?
Then they're idiots.
Well, no. Maybe they don't have hot takes where they are. Maybe they're from Saskatchewan or something.
No.
And hot takes aren't a thing. I'll put it in their
words. It's your opinion.
So hot take is, your opinion that may or may not be shared by others.
Yes, by
in the world.
By the world.
Yeah.
Correct. Okay. And Disney goers are famous for having commercial some difficult hot takes. Mainly we understand, disclaimer, we understand all of these things are first world problems, but hey, it is what it is. We gave you a therapist episode last week, so we thought we'd
we're gonna do a little juxtaposition to the therapist with a little bit of super shallow stuff.
Correct. Number one. All right. This is from our friend Andrea on Instagram. She says, no
Hey,
ride.
Andrea.
Hey, girl. No attraction is worth 50 minutes, waiting for 50 minutes.
And to clarify, 50.
Correct. And for our friends, that is 10 minutes less than an hour.
Yes. So she's saying anything, 45 minutes is her limit. So if she's in line and it says 45 minutes, she's going to do it. If it says 50, out, not happening.
She will wait 45 minutes for crispy small world.
Crispy small world.
A 45-minute Philhar magic. Rope drop.
Okay. So you go first on this one.
I'm going to disagree because I can now name 4 or 5 attractions I would probably wait longer than 50 minutes for, purely because you're in a theme park. So, I mean, I know there are other things to do in said theme park, but typically I will always start a trip to whatever theme park, Universal, SeaWorld, Disney, and I'll be like, I really want to ride this. Even if it's an hour, I'll wait for it. So like Guardians of the Galaxy, I would probably wait 60 minutes for Rock and Roller Coaster. And also it will heavily depend on the queue for said attraction. So,
and let me and you there, also the company, because I have in my old age embraced the fact that you really, if you're with friends, you're kind of like, okay, my entire Disney World going life has been so focused on getting the most amount of rides done in the least amount of time. You know what I mean? Like efficiency and all of that. But if you're there with friends and the point of being there, or with your family, right, is to be together. Now, granted, we're not talking if you've got littles that don't really want to hang out,
that's
but
a different
having just
thing.
I mean, I just sat on the patio of a beach house and played Battleship for 3 hours. Like,
Right.
So it's not about the brilliance of the attraction always, and sometimes that can be okay. You know,
Right.
I use the example just recently. I waited 45 minutes for Navi River Journey, which is very short. It's nothing. Although that audio animatronic, now that she is working as she was designed, is truly spectacular. If you've been like not riding Navi River Journey because you're like, oh, it's a snooze, whatever. Her arm movements are just, it's crazy. And her eyes, and I mean, the whole thing.
Right.
But that queue is actually like, it's like walking through a botanical garden, truly.
Right.
So, and it's all shaded and there's music and it doesn't suck. So, I think and I'm speaking to myself here, I have said that same thing that Andrea said for years and years and years. And I'm starting to mellow a little bit. Granted, everything with the caveat that I'm in the parks multiple times per year. But, it kind of depends on the day, the mood. I don't hate the idea of like, rope dropping Nomad Lounge and then going and waiting in the queue for Navi River Journey, and then maybe getting in line for Flight of Passage for an hour.
Right.
Which I would do that.
I always tell guests who come up to me at DAC that they're like, oh, we really want to ride Flight of Passage, but the 2-hour wait's a lot. And I went, I get it. Like, I really do get it. However, the majority of the queue is inside. And it's an AC and it has the best water fountain ever in that queue. So lots of great things to be had. Lots of great things to get. Also, what does that go to show? When we were in line for Rock and Roller Coaster and it was an hour, you wouldn't stop complaining.
No, it was not an hour. It was like 20 minutes that I wouldn't stop complaining. It just meant that I was sick of you. No, not true. Fake news. That is not true. Oh my God. If you didn't watch on YouTube, that face that Liam just gave me, oh my gosh. No, what was going on there is
that was a different situation.
Crowded. And also when a ride is broken and when you go with Liam, you guys, on theme park rides, because he's a cast member who happens to work an attraction, he knows all of the codes for like, when they say this, it means this, when they say this. So I've been in line with him for an attraction and something is said that is completely nonsensical to me. And he's like, we're going. And we just leave the line and I'm like, what happened? And he's like, did you want to stand there for the next 2 hours and then have them tell you that the ride was not coming back online? Because that's what was getting ready to happen. So he's like the
I'm the guru.
ride operator whisperer. Like he knows all the things. And he kept hearing things and he was like, okay, I think they're going to come right back. I think they're going to come right back. That kind of drives me crazy. Like I don't know. So yeah, that's why I was being whiny.
Jen loves being anxious.
I do.
It's great. It's great. It's great. It's a good time. Okay. So are you ready for number 2?
I am.
This is from our friend Michelle.
Michelle.
I'm gonna do a reading. That's
Okay,
another costume we could do is Romy and Michelle. Anyways.
Oh,
that's pretty funny. No one would want to see that but us. I'm gonna give you a reading.
okay.
I don't understand why people like Peter Pan ride.
Well, because he won't grow up.
Grow up, Michelle. I'm just kidding, Michelle. You're probably a really lovely woman.
I'm sure she's a really lovely
But
woman.
yeah, she doesn't understand why people love and will wait for the Peter Pan ride.
Okay, so this is a great one for me because I have gone on record multiple times as saying that Peter Pan is my favorite attraction.
Correct.
However, you have to have nostalgia connected to Peter Pan, in my view,
Correct.
for it to be something that you have to do.
Right.
And the only part of Peter Pan, like if I could just do this part of Peter Pan over and over again, I probably would. In fact, I once filmed this part, not for my channel, but for my own enjoyment, so that I could like slow it down and really look at details that I miss every time I write it.
Right.
But Peter Pan was probably the first attraction I remember riding as a very, very young child, very young, like probably 2 years old. And getting on that pirate ship, and something specifically about being in the nursery and going through the window just completely enchanted me. Like if I can look back to a moment that I was like, that was when they like swallowed me whole and haven't spit me out yet. It was that moment, because there's just something so remarkable. And a little bit of Disney trivia. They used to have the Neverland Club at the Polynesian, which was the childcare that was there. And you entered into the Neverland Club through the nursery window of the Darling children.
Cute.
So when I dropped my kids off to do that, because we used to have a date night every time we would go to Disney, we would take them to the Neverland Club. They never wanted to leave. It was always staffed by the most lovely women that just absolutely adored them. And watching my kids like crawl through the window to go to the childcare, I lost my mind. It was just amazing.
Really cute.
Yeah.
Aww,
yeah.
That is really lovely. But
yeah.
I think, do I understand why people love Peter Pan the ride? Yes. Do I have a connection to Peter Pan? Not really. I think it's a beautiful ride. I think it's a beautiful film, minus the racism in the film.
Yes.
But I think Disney knows that. Like, I don't think anyone's blind to that.
And the truth is that particular racism trope, is that the word I want to use? I guess that's the right word.
There's a warning on Disney Plus.
There is.
Before the film.
If you took out of circulation, because that particular, I think I'm using the word trope, right? Like misinterpretation, stereotypical, wrong interpretation of a people group. If you took out every film that had that during like the 40s and the 50s, right? It was I don't want to say a majority, but like
it's a lot.
So it isn't that I'm saying it's acceptable, because it isn't in any way. Correct. But it also is it just was, and it's wrong. And I'm glad there's a warning. I wish they would fix the ride. I think it could be done in a beautiful way, but I don't care if they fix that. I wish they would fix that, but I would chain myself to the pirate ship if they tried to take out the going through the window and going over London. And the little cars. And like, I was legit sold, and I thought the little car, I mean, just the whole thing. And Big Ben.
It's a great example too of a really beautiful queue when they redid it, I think around 2012, 2013. Yes. To this beautiful, so imaginative,
and you're actually in their home, and you get to see. If you've only ever ridden it fast pass, which a lot of people do, I would actually recommend rope dropping it one morning when you're in Magic Kingdom, literally to stand in the queue, because it is that well done, especially if you are someone who as a child just absolutely loved that. So
it's just beautiful. And I got to do it at Iridescent Nights, and I very rarely do Peter Pan's flight. So it was a beautiful little moment. And again, the interactive moments of the queue with the pixie dust and Tinkerbell, it's all just really cool. And you become a shadow. It's great. Moving on. 3, deluxe resorts shouldn't share buses. That's from our friend Nicole.
Do you want to start on this one?
I feel like you need to.
Okay, since I clearly stay in deluxe resorts more than you do.
Yeah, she's right.
No, only because you live there.
And
you would if you didn't live there.
And I visit her in those deluxe resorts, and they go,
yes, exactly.
Peasant, would you like to come in? And I'm like, please, I'm on
please, sir. Please, sir,
like,
can I have some more? You say that. We don't believe you. All right. The deluxe resort thing starts to get on my nerves. I think across the board, Disney is currently not delivering on what they are selling in terms of bus transportation. Okay. They are selling it as a huge perk of being on property. And yet the delays, because of staffing issues, everybody don't at me. I know why. Like, not a secret. My beef is not with the fact that they are understaffed. It's that you then need to under promise and over deliver. And what guests are expecting, now this is deluxe, moderate, whatever, is that when there is a 7 a.m. early opening, as what I experienced, that there will be a bus that will come that they can get on that will reasonably get them to that theme park at 7 a.m., which is the perk that they were promised for staying on property. Okay. Now this one is really bad. You said we know these are first world problems. This one's really bad, but I'm always about value. And if I've been promised something by a company and that company does not fulfill that promise, I believe that is worth noting. And I think right now, this is one of those situations.
Right.
If for those of you that don't watch my YouTube channel, which if I don't get Liam on it more, it's probably just going to fail because he's the only thing keeping it. He's the only thing keeping it.
What if every single video I wasn't in? Snooze.
The deluxe resorts seem to have really, really bad bus service. And so far from what I'm hearing, the mods and the values are having better bus service. So I do feel that they need to come up, they need to fix it. I don't know that if it's sharing buses, if it's lack of designation, if they're assuming that all deluxe resort guests are springing for a Lyft or an Uber, I don't know. But if you sell someone a deluxe resort with the expectation that this, and this is going to happen, any resort, if you sell them a value resort, if you sell them a park ticket, and then those things cannot happen because the thing you promised isn't possible, like getting to the park at 7 a.m., that's not a great look. It's just not. And they need to either fix it or they need to change the expectation. So that's my hot take on that. Yeah.
Let me read the statement again. Sorry. Deluxe resorts shouldn't share buses.
Yeah. So what she's really saying,
I didn't even know they did. Gonna be honest. Now, are they like, I'm dumb, I don't stay at them. Is it like Animal Kingdom Lodge and
Kidani?
Okay.
No, it's like Animal Kingdom and Kidani. Surprisingly, sometimes Wilderness Lodge and Contemporary will share a bus, which that really is kind of nonsense because then quite frequently, actually, Wilderness Lodge and Contemporary share a bus. And that's a lot of added mileage. So especially, but at a time when they're already so understaffed, I just don't think they have the manpower to not do that.
Yeah.
So my advice currently, and this might have changed by the time this podcast goes up, but specifically if you're staying at a deluxe, either spend the extra money and rent a car or Lyft and Uber, or be staying at some place where you can like walk to the majority of resorts.
I didn't even know that they shared buses, so I agree they shouldn't.
Yeah.
Number 4, park hopping is a waste of money. That's by our friend Eric.
You better go first because I took over that last one.
Park hopping isn't worth the money. Again, there's so many caveats. Well, how long are you staying? What are the things that are important to you? Ultimately, if you are doing 4 days, 4 parks, yes, park hopping is not worth it. However, if you're only here for Saturday and Sunday, and you want to do Hollywood Studios and Epcot, and then the next day like end at Magic Kingdom for the fireworks, then yes, obviously park hopping is worth it. I always tell people at least add, if you're here for a few days, add 1 or 2 dates that you want to park hop. You don't have to park. It doesn't, it's a thing you add on. It doesn't have to be every single day. I don't think that's worth it. However, I think it is worth it if you want to, especially once nighttime spectaculars kind of come back, like Fant and Main Street, nighttime parade at Magic. It'll be really special, and I think your kids will want to go. So to match everything up is a lot. Yes, I agree. I guess I agree to some extent. Yes, I guess I agree.
So the worst, first of all, so definitive and super helpful. I guess I agree with that.
Well, like, what do you think? Like,
no, well, first of all, worth it is completely subjective, right?
Right.
It depends on what you love. Let's say, for example, that's the caveat. It depends on what you love. Let's say that you are huge foodies, okay? And there's multiple restaurants at Epcot that you want to be able to eat at in the course of your week's vacation. It might be worth it to you to get a park hopper just so you can go to Epcot for dinner every night. Does that make sense? Like, it really depends on what your objectives are. I would say if it is a family's first visit, and especially if there are young children involved, park hopper can be not a great value, because young kids are not going to want to spend half their day on buses getting based on what we just talked about, right? With transportation being challenging, right? So if you got a park hopper, then you've got to spend all of the time. If you allow, like, it's going to take you a good hour, if not more, out of your day just traveling.
Absolutely.
So I would be really inclined to not do that, especially if it was first visit, especially if it was younger kids, just to take the stress out of it too, right? Just to make the planning easier. Because obviously, everyone talks about how complicated Genie Plus is. Well, if you're in the same park all day long, Genie Plus is honestly a lot less stressful, because then you're going to try to get, maybe Rise or Cosmic Rewind if you're at Epcot that day, and you're not as stressed about what boarding group you got, because this is my park for the whole day.
Right.
So if you're someone who gets stressed out about planning, if you have little kids, certainly if it's your first visit, I would say you can save that money and spend it on something else.
I feel like a waste of money is like, or a waste of whatever. Like, I feel like that's not oddly dramatic, but I'm like, I think it is a useful tool when you know when to use it. I think I mean, before I worked for the company and I took that little summer vacation with my friend Michaela, we bought park hoppers for 1 day because I knew that I wanted to see Enchantment at night. So set your expectations of what you want to do, and then make your schedule. It involves some planning, but I think it's worth it. I think it's a nice add-on when you need to use it, I think.
But it's also like an intermediate skill, right? Like, I don't think park hopping is for first timers. I just don't. I think that they vastly underestimate how much time it's going to take to get everywhere. And if it's your first visit, and if you got there, right, you could always add it on. So since you're making your park reservations already, if you all of a sudden feel like you're not enjoying yourself because you can't park hop, there's nothing, they would love to take more of your money for you to add that onto your ticket. But I think if you're looking to lower stress and all of that, then maybe skipping it could be helpful for you. But if you've been a lot and there's certain things you want to do, maybe you want to do that.
And your trip is probably shorter. Like,
And I'm a brat. Because I have not had an annual pass. I have had it. Liam, you are it.
You're a brat? What you saying?
And like the transportation stresses you out. Park hopping, maybe
Not
don't.
Great.
Not great.
Next one.
Okay.
From our friend and zookeeper, Jen.
Hi, Jen.
Wishes is far superior than happily ever after.
Oh boy, this one's gonna get we're gonna get some hate mail with this one.
I mean, again, it almost goes back to Peter Pan. Which do you have more memories with? What feels more like home? And for me, it's Wishes.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Though happily, I listened to the music of Happily Ever After a lot more.
I am not discriminating. Let's put it this way. I am not discriminating when it comes to fireworks at all.
I do not discriminate against anything.
I don't mean that like I don't, you know how some people are like, I don't get wine. I either get white
No,
or I get
if you
red.
like it, you like it.
tastes
Like
good.
whatever.
If I like it, I like it. And honest to God, hand to heart, I swear to you guys, I don't get attached to fireworks shows. So if Disney
like
wants to feed me up a new fireworks show, and you know what? It's funny you should say that, because what I like far more typically is the stage piece leading up to the fireworks. I love the music. I love the projections are nice, things like that. But I love having them go off while I'm doing other things, but I never again in my life will you find me. Well, maybe when I take my grandchildren for the first time, if I happen to have grandchildren at some point down the road, we might do like a fireworks dessert party or something. But yeah,
I've
no,
never done one of those. Can we do that? Can we do that for your YouTube channel?
We can do that.
We can do that. A bell dress so you can.
We actually do need to do that.
I mean, I'll pay
I have
for it.
one night we could do that. No, but we could have my channel pay for it, and then I can write it off. It's all about strategy.
Yeah, she's all smarter than me.
As a legitimate business expense, in case the IRS is listening. So what was I saying? Fireworks are just kind of so for me. Like I can't ever imagine myself getting dramatic.
Then quick fire it. Wishes or Happily Ever After. You have to watch one. Which one is it?
Oh, Wishes.
Great.
Yeah.
Moving on. Sorry. Moving on. 6. What are our I guess this really isn't like a hot take, but oh God, is this Dawn? I think it's Dawn. I think I'm right. Dawn is going to D23 in September. So obviously she is all for D23. She's going. What are our thoughts on it? So it's interesting. Like she's like, do we think I'll turn this into a statement. Is D23 worth it or not worth it? Again, we're terrible people to ask these kind of questions. We're like, well, if it's for you, then of course it's worth it.
So do you belong to D23? Because I do. Okay.
No, so, I don't. How much is it? I don't even know how much it is.
It's like $99 a year. And I thought I brought it up here, but I just got the magazine today. And the Disney Wish is on the cover. The Disney Wish is on the cover of the magazine. Their magazine is such an incredibly beautiful publication that it is almost worth the $99 for the magazine.
Right.
It's always, and the articles are extremely well done. And then I do like the box that we get every year, which has like the map that you can't see, but that I'm looking at. It was the D23 Fantastic World. So they basically drew a map with that's in the shape of Mickey, but has every world that Disney has ever invented, including the Marvel worlds are on there, Star Wars worlds are on there, and it's all on this huge map. I'm looking at Everest is on there. Like it's very, very cool. So
that's cool.
The events themselves, I really enjoy watching them. Like the live streams of the presentations. I happened to have been in Anaheim once though, when the big one was going on. And the whole like waiting in line for 6 hours for things. I know this year they sold like a elite ticket where you had guaranteed access to certain events.
Yeah.
So that if someone like, if I was given that, I might do that. But again, gosh, all roads lead to anxiety and stuff on this show. Like we can't get away from our mental health issues, no matter how hard we try. Yeah. Crowds really freak me out. And D23 is a convention. So if massive crowds, I can't do that. I'm like, there is nothing that makes me feel more physically ill than all of that.
Right.
If, however, that doesn't bother you, which the truth is, there's a whole bunch of people that actually find that fun, like that they live for that kind of thing.
Right.
You are going to be in an amazing convention center with all kinds of like-minded people, and that is kind of its own vibe. So if that sounds exciting to you, and they do usually announce some pretty cool stuff, but I like to watch the live streams because then I can sit in the comfort of my own home and get the information.
Yeah, I feel like, well, now that you just said it was $100 a year, I mean, I could probably do that. Like, that sounds like a good time.
And they do special things. They do special ticketed events and all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I would want to go to one D23 convention before I die. Like, that sounds super fun. Like, make a Disneyland trip out of it. And Oh, is it usually in Anaheim? Is it, where is it?
They do one in Anaheim. Well, the big one is in Anaheim, but they also do one in Orlando. They have, and I've never
Very nice.
really heard. I know that the Anaheim one is the big one.
Okay. Well, it
So-
sounds like at one point I'll go and I'll report back, but yeah, it sounds fun. Sounds like something you could be into. And wait, it's in September. I'm already going in September. So
When are you going?
I am going in late September, like September 20th, something like
I
that.
think it's like the 11th.
Okay, well, I'll try
Yeah.
next year.
Yeah.
All right, number 7. All right, so our friend Laura says, I still don't get the the fascination with Figment.
I'm letting you take this one. I feel like you
I-
can speak to this more intelligently
He
than me.
is a purple pimple. I have no, I think people liked Dreamfinder more than they liked Figment. Is that a fair assumption? Because I'm not aging you, Jen, but that is a certain generation loves Figment and loves Dreamfinder. And I feel like,
Yes.
so I don't get it. I don't get it. If that ride went tomorrow, I wouldn't care.
So I actually have a Figment Christmas ornament. I don't have a lot of Figment stuff. Here's my connection.
She
to
dresses
Figment.
up as Figment every year for Christmas.
I do not. I only every day. No. So I am a huge Tony Baxter fan. Huge Tony Baxter fan, and Figment is his character. Like he drew Figment. He invented Figment. He is
Sure.
Figment's father, if you will. And I heard him actually speak about Figment once, and I think Figment's very, very cute. I love it when they put his little Christmas sweater on him. I did ride the original Figment attraction, the really, really long one that had Dreamfinder in it, and it was quite like amazing.
Of course, they refurbed it and took Dreamfinder out of it, and then people had a conniption,
Right.
and then they put Figment back in it, and it was like
But not
changed.
Dreamfinder. Yeah, I don't remember the exact timeline. I only rode the extended, like the original version of it once.
When you mean extended,
It was
how-
literally like, I mean, we'd have to look it up, but it was literally like a 15-minute ride. Like it was
where
long.
and it was in the same building.
Yes, and there was this very cool tunnel thing that you went through, and there
Oh,
was
like the imagination thing. Yeah, I know what we're
Correct.
talking about.
correct.
Oh, so it was like a walkthrough thing.
No, you were in your ride vehicle the whole time. So what we need to do is go look up. See, I don't even know that there's a ride through, but there has to be something on the internet about like the original attraction. If I remember correctly, and this is always an if, they made it shorter because it was just too friggin' long. Like people complained about how long it was. But then of course, when they made it shorter, then everyone freaked out because it wasn't this. And then, oh, so now you want this. And it turns into a whole thing.
Well, it sounds like something I'd be into. It's like the world of motion before Test Track.
Thank you. So
Um,
I think it's there's a nostalgia factor. And I think it's kind of like hearkening back to what we talked about with Peter Pan. Or like you and I have talked about Carousel of Progress. If you have no
love Carousel
emotional,
of Progress.
but if you had no emotional connection to it,
You need
if
to
you
get
went
a
and wrote
life.
it, if you went and wrote it now as an adult for the first time with no context, you would be like, this is the dumbest thing I have ever seen in my life.
Number 8. I can take or leave Harmonious. I love Enchantment. Amy.
Mm. Okay, I'm gonna fight. I'm gonna get in a fight.
I'm gonna fight
Who was
too.
this? Who was this?
Amy.
Amy, I'll fight you, girl. Here's why. Not to sound ridiculous, but
Harmonious is the
the-
best thing I've ever seen.
Harmonious is the best thing I've ever seen.
Same.
Oh gosh. Now all I can hear in my head is that
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah. The international music. Okay. So you're talking to two people, both Liam and myself, that are huge music nerds.
Correct.
I think that's fair to say. All kinds of music, different arrangements of music that we love.
Correct.
So when you take, like I could cry talking about it, when you take music that we already know and love, you give it a different arrangement, and then you have it sung in a different language.
I lost
There
it.
is nothing for me that is more the spirit of Epcot than that, right?
Correct.
I bawled the first time I watched Harmonious.
And every single time, like I was like, I'm not gonna cry at this. I'm not gonna cry at this. And then freaking Out There in German or whatever it was plays, and I'm like, I'm bawling, and I'm like, and then the tick, 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 and the lighting design of it. I'm not a huge fan of the barges.
Neither am I.
I'm not there for the barge. I'm just simply not there for the barges. I'm there for the arrangements, and it'd be amiss to say not mention the famous Clark sisters singing their arrangement of Princess and the Frog at the end to represent America. It is, I think it's Karen and her daughter, so it's not the Clark sisters, but it's a famous gospel church group singing Princess and the Frog, and I was like, I just love the thing that represents America is specifically Black culture.
Agreed. Now, I don't want this to sound like we are being like judgmental about anyone that doesn't love it. I will say this: if you do not have the kind of connection to specific arrangements and music as Liam and I do, I completely get why it would be a miss.
Yeah,
totally. And that doesn't make us like more intellectual or you know, more awake or anything like that. Okay,
absolutely not.
It's just that and to be honest, I could listen to that show, get rid of all the fireworks. I don't even care about all that.
If you give me a soundproof room and a headset, #gamer Jen, I would be.
I literally cannot even sit here thinking about the music without like having a visceral response to it.
Correct.
And the thing is too, is you can tell that the people who did it had a deep love of their individual culture and a deep love of Disney and a deep love of like the experience that they knew families were going to be doing together. So I almost feel it's a conversation starter. It's almost like for people to say, I didn't even understand what language even was that. Oh my gosh, let's go look it up. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about what this global experience is like. And that to me is how Harmonious feels. It feels like the most global thing we have.
It feels like harmony. It feels like, what if English and Japanese met in reflection or, you know, whatever the language may be. And suddenly you're like, oh, are the songs that different, even if it's in a different language? No, the answer is no.
The pyrotechnics, meh. The barges, meh. The drones, meh. The music. That is the genius of that show. And if you've never seen it, my strong suggestion, even though it will give it away a little bit, especially if you're not someone that's super musically inclined, maybe listen to it first so that you kind of understand the story. Because it's almost like watching an opera. You kind of want to know the synopsis before you walk in because it's going to be in a different language and I don't even know what the heck is going on. That might make it make a little bit more sense. You know what I'm saying?
That's a beautiful example. And there's also beautiful lighting around the pavilions when certain songs play. It's really, really lovely. Moving on. But I disagree with the hatred of Enchantment. I don't really understand why people hate it. I was like, y'all, we felt a certain way when Wishes went away. If it's the Jen LaForge Prezi presentation, her Google Doc of you will always get attached to certain things, but it's time to move on.
I mean, there's some of y'all are still waiting for them to bring back Spectro Magic. It's not coming back.
Girl, those floats are long gone. At that point, they might as well make a new parade. Honestly, with me going to Disneyland in the fall, I am excited to see DEP again, Disney Electrical Parade, just because I haven't seen a nighttime parade since 2016.
Yeah, and there's no place to see the Electrical Light Parade other than Disneyland. It is the OG. You got to do it.
Incredible. Number 9, which we talked about this already, so this will be a fast one. Test Track is better with the old theming, Julie. Yes. It looks like Tron. Now it looks like Tron.
And yes, it looks like a video game and you drive your car at the end.
We're about to get it. It literally looks like Tron. You cannot tell me that it doesn't look like Tron. It looks like Tron. Bring back World of Motion. No, yeah, 100%. The smell, the feeling. I need to look up the pre-show from the old Test Track again, just to remember it, because I think I'm remembering
just to feel something.
Just to feel something. That's a famous me quote. I'm doing this just to feel something. Me at work. I'm just doing this to feel something. Incredible. We both agree with that.
Yep.
Okay. Moving on. Our last one. Fly Flight of Passage is overrated. I would rather ride Expedition Everest multiple times in my day than go on Flight of Passage.
Who said this?
Lindy.
All right. Well, Lindy, I'm giving you points for kahunas is what I'm doing, because this is a bold statement.
I can say, I know why you've ridden Everest so many times. That
Not
makes
to
complete sense.
Yes, Everest is also fabulous. I don't agree with this one though. It is the reason it's a hot take is because we're all entitled to our own, opinions about things, like how I don't like Loungefly bags. We all have, that's
but
what
we'll
makes the world
proudly
go round.
take a sponsorship from Loungefly, because I love Loungefly. You can fit an umbrella, you can fit a hat, you can fit an entire kumquat.
No, you can't. And don't you dare take a kumquat into the theme parks. That is bad. Jesus.
Muppet Vision 3D. How'd you get tickets to the show? We entered a contest. Yeah, we lost.
How is it going, chef?
The film is going to slurby.
If you don't love Flight of Passage, it is not for you.
Which she didn't say she didn't love it. She just says it's overrated.
I don't think it's overrated. I think as an experience, I honestly feel that ride could be used in a therapy setting, honest to God, because it does. If you're someone like me that really feels centered in nature and animals and water, those are my things. And that is all of that. And also you fly. So
it is super cool. I'm a little nervous it'll get outdated. Just because I think you and I rode Soarin' together at extended magic hours, and I just forgot how dated it feels, which is sad. I don't like feeling like that because I love Soarin'. But
she's a tired ride.
And there's just, that building is so big. I don't think people realize how big it is. It holds 3 of those theaters, so it's big, and Flight is even bigger. So, and the great thing about something like that is that it can get a retheme, and it can get a new story, and it can get a new thing, understanding full well it will take many years to get that.
Right.
However, I think Flight of Passage is overrated? No. I would wait, to go back to our first one, I would wait 60 minutes, 70 minutes for Avatar, hands down. Yeah.
Especially if I'm having a difficult day, if I get on that ride, when I get off that ride, I feel better.
Oh yeah, hands down.
I have perspective, and I feel like stupid.
What's the word that they use in the Avatar world?
Sivako?
Jen goes, not that Sivako! She just leaves the ride, and everyone's like, is she by herself?
Sivako! Yeah, I love Dr. Beth. Who doesn't love Dr. Beth Ogden? The strangely looks like Sigourney Weaver and yet isn't person.
It's Sigourney Wee. It's not Sigourney
Yeah,
Weaver.
and the stubble. All right, make sure you get where you can see me.
It's my Dr. Seeker. My Dr. Seeker.
Wait, you all have them.
It's so wild. And then the weird floating. This is my impression of the Navi person floating in the tank.
Yeah, that's a little weird. Also, one time I rode, and my what are they called? The animals.
Banshee?
What are they? My Banshee. Only one side of his lungs were working. So the whole time it was, and the other side was broken and would go off and on every 3 times. So it was this side is normal, and this side is are
you okay?
So I was I think you might want to do a CT scan on the Banshee. It's 3 in. We are not okay. Annie, are you okay? Banshee, are you okay?
Are you okay, Banshee? But I do want to give a shout out. So many of you guys are coming up to me at Everest. It's really sweet, because I'll be checking lap bars, and I'll just hear Liam, look up. I watch your podcast with Jen. And I go, oh my God, have fun on your expedition.
People should whisper it to completely freak you out.
And I took a photo today with somebody, and I was like, so we're going to do a series on our Instagram at Unlimited Time Magic. of like hashtag Liam in the wild, just catching me.
You're like
Everest.
Waldo now.
Yeah, I'm like Waldo. You'll get a prize if you do catch me more than 5 times. But it's super lovely, including, if I haven't mentioned it already, we have donated something like $200 something to the Giraffe Foundation from last week. Tip jar.
Yeah.
Absolutely incredible. As a reminder, the tip jar, it literally gives me an opportunity to take time aside to better edit, give better opportunities to more people, to help us create a better show for you.
Yeah, and at this point, we have no income at all.
No, we just do this.
Because I mean for the podcast, because we're not monetized on YouTube yet, although that would be great. That will probably happen at some point. But even then, that's such a small portion.
Right.
We don't make any money. At some point, we'll probably make a tiny bit. So everyone's always like, how do you make money with a podcast? Well, if you're not big, you really don't.
Right.
And this is not a, at some point it's going to have to be worth it for us to take the time to do it, even though we absolutely love it.
We love doing this, but there's a reason.
Hearing it, if you contribute to Tip Jar, that helps make sure that we can still do it. Because in my case, you guys know this is my business. So I'm taking away from doing other things in order to do this.
Right.
And it needs to be worth it for me to do it. So that's not in any way like it's not like a threat or anything like that. It's just the reality.
No, it's the reality. And we follow us on Instagram, because you might get an announcement at some point about something that is the future. However, we have always
nodding like I have any idea what he's talking about. I don't. Wait till you see.
Wait till you hear and see it.
Just wait.
It's true that our intention is at some point this will end. Like, we don't intend to do this for the rest of our lives. So understand that we cherish and respect all of you who trust us and listen to us, and your messages are not skeeted over. Like, we really do read them, because they're beautiful messages that are really heartfelt, and we know what this is doing for a lot of people, which is just super lovely and super great. So we want to keep doing it, and anybody who donates, we want to keep doing community work, we want to keep giving back, but we also want money. Our friends at the tip jar that donated this week, my friends Amy, Robin, Stephen, Aaron, and Cindy.
Thank you, you guys. We appreciate you very much.
You guys make it possible. Truly, guys, you know that Jen's schedule is crazy. My schedule is crazy. We love doing this show, but we need money. So please give us money. Next week, season finale.
Season finale. I am beyond. I am so friggin' excited. You guys, I can't believe we're at this point in it. I can't believe some of y'all are like, if I give to the tip jar, will you both get better microphones and a better recording center?
The answer is yes.
Yes, that is.
You give us the
like,
money. It's also,
Liam has been so great about our accounting, because he's like, okay, so we had to pay the graphic designer this, and then we had to pay this for this, and we had to pay this for this. And we're aware that this is not the best sounding podcast you've ever heard in your life, but we need the funding in order to support the equipment. And so that is our next, that is our
milestone.
Hope, is that if and when we are back, that things are,
sounding a little better, and
a little better.
I'm very excited to what the future will hold. I think that's where I will leave it at that. My friends, we will see you next week. Have the best week ever. We'll see you on Main Street. Bye, guys.
Love you. Bye.
We hope you enjoyed this week's episode of Unlimited Time Magic with Jen and Liam. Don't be afraid to follow us on Instagram at Unlimited Time Magic, where you can find links to our YouTube channel, where we upload every episode where you can see our faces, and also to our tip jar. Any bit of money helps to produce better episodes for you guys. So we'll see you next week, and we'll see you on Main Street. Bye.